Feeling stuck in a rut of negative thoughts? You're not alone. We've all been there, letting those pesky little voices in our heads drag us down. But what if I told you there's a way to silence that inner critic and embrace a more positive outlook? The ancient Stoics, a group of Greek and Roman philosophers, had some pretty clever ideas about how to navigate life's challenges and cultivate happiness. In this article, we'll dive into 10 practical strategies inspired by Stoic philosophy to help you kick those negative thoughts to the curb and live a more fulfilling life. We'll explore concepts like mindfulness, gratitude, and acceptance, and we'll show you how to apply these ideas to your everyday life. So, if you're ready to break free from the chains of negativity and start living a more positive and fulfilling life, read on. Let's explore the Stoic wisdom that can help you transform your thoughts and your life. Lesson 1. Embrace the dichotomy of control. Ever felt like you're constantly stressed about things that are totally out of your hands? Maybe you're worried about the traffic, the weather, or what other people think of you. Well, the ancient Stoics had a pretty clever way of dealing with this kind of stress. They called it the dichotomy of control. What's the dichotomy of control, you ask? It's basically the idea of separating things into two categories: stuff you can control and stuff you can't. Things like your thoughts, your actions, and your values are totally within your power. But stuff like the economy, natural disasters, and other people's opinions, not so much. Why does this matter? Well, the Stoics believed that we waste a lot of our emotional energy worrying about things that are outside of our control. It's like trying to change the weather. You can put on a raincoat, but you can't actually make the rain stop. So instead of stressing out about it, we should focus on what we can control. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're stuck in a traffic jam. You're late for a meeting and you're starting to feel really stressed. Now, you can't control the traffic, but you can control how you react to it. You could get angry and honk your horn, or you could use this time to listen to a podcast or catch up on some emails. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it this way: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So, how can you apply the dichotomy of control to your own life? Identify what you can control. Make a list of the things in your life that are within your power. Let go of what you can't control. Once you've identified the things you can't control, accept them and let them go. Focus on your reactions. When something happens that's outside of your control, focus on how you react to it. Can you choose a more positive or productive response? Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you stay present and focused on the moment, rather than getting caught up in worries about the future. Remember, you have more control over your life than you think. By understanding the dichotomy of control, you can reduce stress, increase your happiness, and live a more fulfilling life. Lesson 2. Practice mindfulness. Ever caught yourself lost in thought, replaying a past mistake or worrying about the future? That's your mind wandering off on a tangent. The Stoics had a solution for that: mindfulness. It's about being fully present in the moment without judgment. Why is mindfulness so important? Well, when we're constantly thinking about the past or worrying about the future, we're missing out on what's happening right now, and that's where true happiness and peace can be found. Remember when we talked about the dichotomy of control? Mindfulness is a great tool for focusing on what we can control, our thoughts and actions in the present moment. Let's say you're feeling stressed about an upcoming exam. Instead of letting your mind race with worst-case scenarios, you can practice mindfulness by focusing on your breath. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Notice the sensations in your body. This simple act can help to calm your mind and bring you back to the present moment. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This means that our thoughts are just thoughts, and they don't necessarily reflect reality. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them. So, how can you practice mindfulness in your daily life? Meditation. This is the classic way to practice mindfulness. Even a few minutes of meditation each day can make a big difference. Mindful eating. Pay attention to the taste, texture, and smell of your food. Mindful walking. Notice the sensations in your feet as you walk and pay attention to the sights and sounds around you. Mindful breathing. Focus on your breath. It's a simple yet effective way to anchor yourself in the present moment. Remember, mindfulness is a skill that takes practice. Don't get discouraged if your mind wanders at first. Just gently bring your attention back to the present moment. The benefits of mindfulness are endless. It can help you reduce stress, improve your focus, and enhance your overall well-being. So, why not give it a try? As the Buddha said, the mind is everything. What you think you become. By cultivating a mindful mind, you can shape your life in a positive way. Lesson 3. Cultivate virtue. Ever heard the phrase, "It's not what you have, but who you are"? That's essentially what the Stoics were all about. They believed that our character, our virtues, are what truly matter in life. But what does it mean to cultivate virtue? Well, it means working on becoming the best version of yourself. It's about developing qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Why should you care about virtue? Because it's the key to a happy and fulfilling life. When you live a virtuous life, you're more likely to experience peace of mind, strong relationships, and a sense of purpose. Let's take courage, for example. Imagine you're afraid of public speaking. To cultivate courage, you might start by joining a public speaking group or volunteering to give a small presentation at work. Each small step you take towards overcoming your fear is a step towards cultivating courage. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity." This means that if you want to be courageous, you have to practice being courageous. Here are a few ways to cultivate virtue in your own life. Identify your weaknesses. What areas do you need to improve in? Set goals. What specific virtues do you want to cultivate? Practice. Consistently work on developing the virtues you've chosen. Find a role model. Look for people who embody the virtues you admire. Be patient. Cultivating virtue takes time and effort. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, but progress. It's about becoming a better version of yourself each day. So what virtues do you want to cultivate? Maybe it's patience, kindness, or perseverance. Whatever it is, start small and be consistent. With time and effort, you can become the person you've always wanted to be. As the Stoics would say, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By cultivating virtue, you're learning how to respond to life's challenges in a way that is both ethical and beneficial. Lesson 4. Embrace discomfort. Ever heard the saying, "No pain, no gain"? Well, the Stoics would definitely agree. They believed that discomfort is actually a good thing. It might sound counterintuitive, but hear me out. Why would anyone want to feel uncomfortable? Because that's where growth happens. When we step outside of our comfort zones, we challenge ourselves and become stronger. Remember when we talked about cultivating virtue? Well, Embracing discomfort is a big part of that. It's how we build resilience, courage, and self-discipline. Let's say you're afraid of heights. Instead of avoiding tall buildings, you could challenge yourself to go hiking or even take a skydiving lesson. By facing your fear, you're not only overcoming it, but you're also developing courage and self-belief. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that obstacles can actually be opportunities for growth. So, how can you embrace discomfort in your own life? Identify your comfort zone. What makes you feel uncomfortable? Set small goals. Start with small challenges and gradually work your way up to bigger ones. Embrace failure. Everyone makes mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them and keep trying. Celebrate your wins. Even small victories are worth celebrating. Remember, it's okay to feel uncomfortable. In fact, it's a sign that you're growing. So, what are you waiting for? Step outside of your comfort zone today and start embracing the discomfort. You might be surprised at what you're capable of. As the Stoics would say, difficulty is the seed of growth. So go ahead and plant some seeds. Lesson 5. Practice gratitude. Ever stop to think about how lucky you are? Even on your worst days, there's probably something you can be grateful for. The Stoics really emphasize the importance of gratitude. They believed that focusing on the positive aspects of life could help us overcome negative emotions and live a more fulfilling life. Why is gratitude so powerful? Well, when we focus on what we're grateful for, it shifts our perspective from what we lack to what we have. It's kind of like putting on rose-colored glasses. Instead of seeing the world as a half-empty glass, we see it as half full. Let's say you're feeling stressed about work. Instead of dwelling on all the things that are going wrong, you could try to focus on the positive aspects of your job. Maybe you appreciate your colleagues, or you're grateful for the opportunity to learn new skills. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not so much what we have, but how we use it that makes us happy." This means that it's not about having all the material possessions in the world, but about appreciating what we do have. So, how can you practice gratitude in your own life? Keep a gratitude journal. Every day, write down a few things you're grateful for. Express gratitude to others. Tell the people in your life how much they mean to you. Practice mindfulness. Pay attention to the present moment and notice the good things in your life. Volunteer. Giving back to your community is a great way to cultivate gratitude. Remember, gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's also about cultivating a positive mindset. When you're grateful, you're more likely to experience joy, happiness, and overall well-being. So, let's make gratitude a daily practice. Start by finding just one thing to be grateful for each day. As you continue to practice, you'll likely find that your list grows longer and longer. As the Stoics would say, a thankful heart is a happy heart. So, let's fill our hearts with gratitude. Lesson 6. Forgive, but don't forget. Ever held onto a grudge so tight it felt like it was part of you? We've all been there. Holding on to anger and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. But the Stoics had a different perspective on forgiveness. Why is forgiveness so important? Because it's not just about letting go of the other person. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of anger and resentment. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, yeah, I know I should forgive," let's talk about the "but don't forget" part. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to forget what they did. It means that you're choosing to let go of the anger and pain that's associated with that event. Let's say a friend betrayed your trust. You could hold on to that anger and resentment, letting it poison your relationship with that person and with yourself. Or you could choose to forgive them. That doesn't mean you trust them the same way you did before, but it does mean that you're releasing the pain and moving on. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to us that troubles us, but our judgment about what happens." This means that our suffering is often caused by our own thoughts and reactions, not by the actions of others. So, how can you practice forgiveness in your own life? Recognize the cost of holding on to anger. How is your anger affecting your physical and mental health? Practice empathy. Try to see the situation from the other person's perspective. Let go of the need for revenge. Revenge only brings more pain. Focus on the present moment. Don't let the past control your future. Remember, forgiveness is a journey, not a destination. It's okay if it takes time. As the Stoics would say, the best revenge is a life well lived. By forgiving others, you're not only freeing yourself from the past, but you're also creating a more positive future for yourself. So the next time someone hurts you, ask yourself, is holding on to this anger serving me? If the answer is no, it might be time to let it go. Lesson 7. Focus on solutions. Ever found yourself stuck in a rut, dwelling on a problem with no end in sight? It's easy to get bogged down in the negative, but the Stoics had a different approach. They suggested focusing on solutions rather than problems. Why is focusing on solutions so important? When we dwell on problems, we're essentially giving them more power. But when we shift our attention to finding solutions, we're taking control of the situation. Let's say you've lost your job. It's a tough situation, no doubt. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, you could start looking at it as an opportunity for a fresh start. You might start updating your resume, networking with people in your field, or even considering going back to school. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means that we have a choice in how we respond to any given situation. So, how can you focus on solutions in your own life? Identify the problem. Clearly define what the problem is. Brainstorm solutions. Come up with as many possible solutions as you can. Choose a solution. Select the solution that seems most feasible and effective. Take action. Start implementing your chosen solution. Be flexible. If your initial solution doesn't work, be willing to try something else. Remember, you can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. By focusing on solutions, you're taking back your power. As the Stoics would say, obstacles are those frightful things we see when we take our eyes off our goal. So, keep your eye on the prize, and don't let obstacles get in your way. So, the next time you encounter a problem, ask yourself, what can I do about this? By shifting your focus to solutions, you'll be well on your way to overcoming any obstacle. Lesson 8. Challenge negative thoughts. Ever caught yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough"? Negative thoughts can be a real drag, but the good news is that you have the power to challenge them. The Stoics understood this concept well, and they had some pretty cool techniques to help us overcome negative thinking. Why is challenging negative thoughts so important? Because our thoughts shape our feelings and actions. If we're constantly bombarded with negative thoughts, it's going to be hard to feel good or make positive changes in our lives. Let's say you're about to give a presentation and you start thinking, "Everyone's going to laugh at me." Instead of letting those thoughts spiral out of control, you could challenge them by asking yourself, "Is that really true?" Have people laughed at me in the past when I've given presentations? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This means that our thoughts are just thoughts, and they don't necessarily reflect reality. So, how can you challenge negative thoughts in your own life? Notice your thoughts. Pay attention to the negative thoughts that pop into your head. Question your thoughts. Ask yourself if there's any evidence to support those thoughts. Challenge your beliefs. Are your negative thoughts based on facts or on past experiences that may not be relevant to the current situation? Replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Focus on the good things in your life. Practice gratitude. Being grateful for what you have can help shift your focus away from negative thoughts. Remember, negative thoughts are like weeds. If you don't pull them up, they'll take over your garden. As the Stoics would say, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By challenging negative thoughts, you're taking control of your reactions and creating a more positive outlook on life. So, the next time you have a negative thought, don't just let it pass by. Challenge it, question it, and replace it with something more positive. Lesson 9. Live in the present moment. Ever caught yourself lost in thoughts about the past or worried about the future? You're not alone. Our minds have a habit of wandering, but the Stoics believed that true happiness comes from living in the present moment. Why is living in the present moment so important? Because that's the only time we actually have. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. By focusing on the present, we can reduce stress, increase our enjoyment of life, and develop a deeper appreciation for the world around us. Let's say you're at a family gathering, but your mind is racing, thinking about a project you have to finish tomorrow. Instead of fully enjoying the time with your loved ones, you're missing out on the moment. By bringing your attention back to the present moment, you can savor the conversation, the laughter, and the connection. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This means that our thoughts are just thoughts, and they don't necessarily reflect reality. So how can you practice living in the present moment? Mindfulness meditation. This practice involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Engage your senses. Notice the sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and sensations around you. Practice gratitude. Focusing on what you're grateful for can help you appreciate the present moment. Limit distractions. Put away your phone and other devices when you want to be present. One thing at a time. Focus on one task or activity at a time. Remember, it's okay if your mind wanders. The goal is to gently bring it back to the present moment. As the Stoics would say, the only place where life exists is now. So let's make the most of it. So the next time you find yourself lost in thought, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I experiencing right now? By practicing being present, you'll discover a whole new level of peace and fulfillment. Lesson 10. Connect with nature. Ever felt a sense of peace and calm when you're surrounded by nature? There's a reason for that. The Stoics believed that connecting with nature was essential for living a good life. Why is connecting with nature so important? Well, humans are a part of nature. We evolved in it, and our bodies and minds are deeply connected to the natural world. Spending time in nature can help reduce stress, improve mood, and boost creativity. Let's say you're feeling overwhelmed by work. Instead of scrolling through your phone, try taking a walk in the park. The fresh air, the sound of birds singing, and the feel of the sun on your skin can help you feel more grounded and centered. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "A man should live with nature like a child with its mother." This means that we should seek to live in harmony with the natural world. So, how can you connect with nature in your own life? Spend time outdoors. Go for a hike, sit in a park, or simply open a window and let in some fresh air. Garden. Planting and caring for plants can be a very rewarding experience. Practice mindfulness in nature. Pay attention to the sights, sounds and smells around you. Learn about nature. Read books, watch documentaries, or take a class about the natural world. Remember, you don't need to go on a camping trip to connect with nature. Even small acts, like taking a walk around your neighborhood or sitting in your backyard, can make a big difference. As the Stoics would say, nature is the best teacher. So let's open ourselves up to her lessons. So the next time you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, step outside and take a deep breath. Nature is always there to offer comfort and solace. So there you have it, 10 practical strategies inspired by Stoic philosophy to help you overcome negativity and cultivate a more positive outlook. Remember, it's not about becoming a perfect person, but about making a conscious effort to improve your thoughts and actions. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." By incorporating these strategies into your daily life, you'll not only feel happier and more fulfilled, but you'll also be better equipped to handle life's inevitable challenges. Remember, it's okay to have bad days, but it's how you respond to those days that truly matters. So, go forth and conquer those negative thoughts. The power to change your life is within you. Start small, be patient, and most importantly, be kind to yourself. And as the Stoics would say, it's not what happens to us that troubles us, but our judgment about what happens.